I get so lucky tonight.
I know it isn't true.
Greetings and salutations, guys. Eric here with my review of A Strange Darling. A review I didn't expect to do because I was sick last week. I didn't get to any screenings, which is why my Crow review was up late. And I didn't even get to see Strange Darling till Sunday, which is today as I record this, of the opening weekend of the film. So I thought, I'm just going to let this one go. But then I saw the movie and I dug it so much, I thought, I want to post a review. I want to talk about this movie because I like to spread the word on good horror movies. And this was a great one, I thought. This movie is interesting, though, to talk about because the less you know about the plot, the better, I think. And so I think going in, not knowing many specifics is great. I will try to tell the bare minimum here and leave you to discover the rest. But look, if you are hyper spoiler phobic, I respect that because I'm going to use B-roll in this review that is from the trailers and from official footage they put out. But if you don't even want to see that, have any idea what's going to happen, just stop watching this and go see the movie. Go buy a ticket for Strange Darling because I respect that choice. All right, still with me? Two attractive people, Willa Fitzgerald and Kyle Gallner, are strangers to each other, and they go to a hotel together after meeting at a bar for a one-night stand, and things happen, and things escalate, and things get crazy and violent, and we progress from there. This movie is told in a non-linear fashion. It is divided into 6 chapters, except those 6 chapters do not play out in order. They are given to us in a very sort of a random order of events, and we have to kind of piece it together as we go along and how we got to different points in the story. And I know something like that can sometimes maybe feel, too artificial or too, done for its own sake. I think it works really well here. I really liked how this story was presented in this manner and that we had to kind of piece all this together and understand why something was happening that we saw earlier. Some of the sequences are a little reminiscent of Memento for that reason, as far as like, oh, that's how we got to this handoff moment. It's just Memento was all told backwards, and this one is jumping all around. But yeah, I think that it works really well doing the movie stylistically in this manner. The writer-director here, J.T. Mulner, this is his second movie, and his first movie was one called Outlaws and Angels a few years ago. I have not seen it. I looked it up and I saw I got pretty poor reviews and reception. All I can say is, if that's true, I don't know maybe I'd disagree. Maybe I'd dig that movie. But this feels like the opposite of a sophomore slump as far as, it just feels such a self-assured movie. I felt like, this is a writer-director who really knows exactly what he's doing and really has sort of control of the story that he's telling. I thought it was so engaging and so sort of grabs a hold of you, and you do want to know more about these two characters, this situation they're in. How did it happen? How did it escalate to this point? I found the whole thing very riveting, and the movie looks great too. It visually, it really pops. The cinematographer was Giovanni Ribisi, which is interesting. He also produced the movie. He's done some cinematography on some shorts and some music videos, but this is his first time in a feature film. And I thought he did an excellent job because, like I said, this movie really has a great look to it. There's a scene with the two of them, the two lead characters, in a car together outside the hotel that's just sort of lit by the neon of the hotel sign. I loved how that scene looked. But there's a lot of other scenes in this movie that I think are just really visually dynamic and really gripping and feel, this is a movie that is definitely, it's not meta, but it's definitely kind of commenting on the history of horror movies in a larger sense. I know that Mulner said he was influenced by just the idea of the final girl and the visual of the final girl running for her life, and that he wanted to kind of do his own spin on that. And I think you can feel that. The movie's one sort of, I think, wink is the very, very, very beginning, which has a pretty obvious reference to Texas Chainsaw Massacre with how it first begins, but then the movie is not at all feeling like it's aping Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It is doing its own thing, but really this movie lives and breathes by the central two performances because it's mostly a two-hander. There's some other supporting actors I'll talk about it a little bit, but it's really Fitzgerald and Gallner kind of holding the screen for most of the running time, and my God, they are excellent in this. Kyle Gallner, he's been acting since he was a kid. I watched him on Veronica Mars and Smallville, and past few years he's been in a ton of horror movies, and he's great in them. But this is a real standout performance, I think, for him. Just really sort of, first of all, getting to take center stage in a way he doesn't always get to, but also just really, I think, showing a really interesting layers here as this character, and sort of what's really going on behind this guy's eyes, and what's really kind of motivating him. I really liked what he did here with this character and the different places he got to go with it. But Willa Fitzgerald, wow, this is definitely a huge spotlight for her. I watched her in Fall of the House of Usher last year, the Mike Flanagan horror miniseries on Netflix. I thought she was great in that. But she gives a definite sort of star-making performance here. There's so much she has to do in this movie, and so many different nuances that she has to play, and so many levels she has to go to as this character is put through the ringer, and has to kind of think on her feet in so many different ways. And she just completely nails it. And it's just an excellent performance. It feels like a very brave performance. Some of that is physical because she is running around in her underwear for a pretty good portion of the movie. But a lot of that is just what she brings to it and how she sort of goes all in on this character who has to just really just, figure her way out of these situations that keep escalating. And I think that she brings to it the sort of gravity and intelligence you need for a character like this. So the two of them are just, they're so great. And then, there's some other great actors, I think, that are sort of sprinkled in throughout. Most notably Ed Begley Jr. and Barbara Hershey, who are, two great veterans who show up as a hippie couple at one point. And I think that it's great casting because we don't spend a lot of time with these characters, but casting two actors like them who sort of bring that history, and you see them and you feel good. Just the familiarity of seeing them on screen is great. And I think that they sort of bring a lot of charm and the likability they bring just from their cinematic history, but also their performances is perfect for this. And then some other sort of key roles that pop up here and there. But this really comes back to Willa Fitzgerald and Kyle Gallner and how great they are. And I think even people who might not love this movie, although I hope most people do, will come out of it being impressed by those performances because they really do make an impression. So I don't want to say much more about this movie. I want people to go see this movie, and I don't want them to look up much more about it because I think I didn't know almost anything about it except for the leads and the very, very modicum of the setup, and I think that is the perfect way to check this out. So it is in theaters now, and I hope people keep going to see it because I think this is one that's there's been a lot of good horror movies this year, but I think this is definitely one of the best of the bunch amongst many great ones to choose from. So those are my thoughts on Strange Darling in theaters now. If you can like and subscribe if you haven't, that would be wonderful, and I'll be back with more soon. Take care, guys. Thanks.